How does a player go from this
Look out!
to this?
You thought you saw him grimacing and in pain.
Well, he's headed to the locker room.
Down, but lost his
balance. But you dove at his knee.
Right.
So you're not even really going for the steal.
Zion Williamson, the name that used to spark fears among NBA competitors. The #1 pick of the 2019 draft is now looking like a bleak version of what he could have been. Injuries, off-court drama, controversial relationships with adult movie stars. You name it. This is the story of Zion Williamson, one of the biggest busts and what-ifs in the history of the sport. We remember it like it was yesterday. It was a lock-in for the #1 spot at the draft. When he was drafted at the Pelicans, right when the New Orleans team gave away Anthony Davis to the Lakers, it seemed like they were going to dominate the West for a long period of time. But after 6 seasons in the league, Williamson has, wait for it, 0 playoff minutes. The Pelicans made it to the playoffs a couple of times, but he was injured and unable to contribute on the floor, leading to a first-round exit. But even the start of his career was a very bumpy journey for Williamson. His professional career was disrupted by injuries, limiting his ability to consistently provide efficiency on the floor. Furthermore, his play style was limited to working under the basket, as he was unable to develop a proper jump shot and a 3-shot range. All of these combined factors have served as nothing but frustration for Williamson and for the Pelicans fans, who are still somehow waiting to see Zion fulfill his potential. Why do we believe he is achieving the bust label? Well, numbers speak louder than words. In the previous season, Williamson played in 30 games, and when healthy, his influence was massive. 24.6 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 5.3 assists. Another frightening fact is that he played in more than 60 games in just 2 of the 6 NBA seasons. With a total of 214 career appearances, Williamson has been on the court for 45.3% of the Pelicans' games since he was selected as the #1 pick back in 2019.
Look, if he loved the game of basketball, he would get his weight under control. He would take training serious. There is no possible way you can say you love something and then go out and do the things that's totally opposite of what you're saying.
And this is the painful part. You have a player who is rather questionable with his life decisions and is almost never available to play. He is a superstar when he is on the court, but that doesn't happen nearly as frequently as a rival team would need to consider a potential trade. The injuries, the off-court drama have all piled up, and right now the Pelicans are in a situation where the trade value of Zion has plummeted massively. He is slowly but surely reaching a point that players like Derrick Rose and Kristaps Porzingis reached. No matter the reputation, the general information is something that will stick with them. There will be teams that will want an asset like Williamson, but not as desperately as giving multiple first-round picks and superstar players in return. As we speak, Zion is likely worth a small percentage of what the Pelicans and the NBA media originally believed. With this in mind, we have to ask the real question: is Zion truly a failed player, a disappointment, or just a proper bust? So the word bust is not because of his inability to contribute. Far from it. His availability is the biggest question mark for us. He cannot be there for the team, but he puts them in a very poor and rather questionable situation. If he's not there, the team barely wins 20 games in a season. If he's there, the Pelicans are easily a 50-win team. But he's not there. That's the problem. There are only flashes of brilliance, and it's not going to be easy to extract that potential in the future, especially now with all of the latest drama regarding the sexual allegations. It's one thing to be a #1 draft pick. In some of the years, the draft isn't loaded with talent, so it's not expected for the leader of the draft to be a generational talent. But that wasn't the case for Zion. Many have already pictured him to be the face of the league. Every missed game and reported injury has further scrutinized his potential. And if you consider the fact that he was supposed to bring the same energy as Anthony Davis, the disappointment is even bigger. According to Stephen A. Smith, the 24-year-old is now slowly but surely approaching the bust territory. The NBA pundit believes that the latest season-ending injury that Zion experienced is just too big of a negative factor when it comes to his potential legacy in New Orleans and overall impact in the NBA, further stating.
I feel very, very bad for the Pelicans in the city of New Orleans. Because Zion Williamson is a star caliber talent and healthy. He's a monster. The problem is he's rarely available. And as great as he is, the word bust comes to mind, not because of his talent. I'm only talking his availability. If you're not available, it doesn't matter how great you are. And he's almost never available. And that is the situation. And so if you traded him right now, for example, do you realize you can't ask for the farm for Zion?
The difference between a bust and a supreme disappointment is big, but we have to see the entire picture here. Zion has been in the league for 6 years, and he hasn't gotten much better when it comes to his shape or his efficiency. Quite the contrary, he turned out to be a worse defender than expected, only takes shots in the paint, and his primary skill, screen and roll, is not executed nearly as well as it should be. The fans have a different perspective on Zion, generally divided on him being a bust or a massive disappointment. The Williamson effect is clearly visible. When he is not on the court, the team is less efficient, but in no way, shape, or form did Zion live up to his potential. A similar case can be found in the NFL. Take Jamarcus Russell, for example. He was the #1 pick, couldn't stay in shape, and despite him being able to throw the ball deep, he had zero impact on the field. That's what many consider to be a bust, whereas Williamson, while headed in that direction, still has some more negative choices in his life to make to become one. Speaking of which, let's talk a bit about his dating history. Ever since he dated the adult movie star Mariah Mills, his life became nothing but a drama story for the media. A couple of years later, Zion was suddenly related to domestic violence and sexual abuse by John Doe in LA, who accused him with proper and precise proof that he did horrifying things to her. After that, Mariah Mills hopped on the train and contacted Tony Busby, a famous lawyer representing similar cases like hers, but Busby declined to represent her. It seems like he found out that she is seeking fame and money, not some justice. But nevertheless, Zion's public picture has been further decimated. All of this goes to show that the situation surrounding Williamson is not going to improve. Quite the contrary. It will become harder with every season that passes by. Unless the Pelicans can extract some miracle package for him, they could start a rebuild process. But right now, it seems like they are stuck between understanding whether he is a good player to continue the build around him, or whether they should let go of the past and focus on another player to build the team around. With all this in mind, what do you think about Zion Williamson being a bust? And more importantly, do you think that he can still be a difference maker on the court with all of the latest drama surrounding him? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen right now.